And as we know that the Czechoslovakia became the satellite of the Soviet Union, and in Czechoslovakia we know that after the Second World War, the 3 million of Germans were expelled from the Czech borderlands, and also the Roma who who came back from the concentration camps. Before Second World War, it was registered 6,500 people, and only 560, uh, around 560 people that came back of original Czech and Moravian Roma. And as I said, the Czechoslovakia that became the communist or socialist country. Uh, what does it mean? Let me to introduce you how looked implementation of the socialism. It it meant that all the people, like the first, uh, uh, there were the confiscated all the properties of, of the people who were having companies. They were losing like their property. It was nationalized. It was becoming the property of the state. Also, people that were the persecuted, like intelligence, and mainly in the early 1950s, there is very known like the process, very monstrous process in which were uh, people condemned, and one of them was Milada Horáková, who was punished. She was sentenced to death. And you can see also a nice the movie about her. It's on the Netflix. It's called the Milada. You can. I'm going to write it into the chat. Yeah, Milada is the name of the movie. You can see there the atmosphere of the Czechoslovakia when the communists took the party. And also, as I was saying, like the change of the market. And now we are having like the uh, like pardon. Now we are having like open market, and during the communism, it was centrally planned economy. It means that everything was planned. It were like the 5 years, like the 5 years, the plans you had, and there were like the plan, the goals which should be reached, and also yes, thank you. And also here you could see. But now, as I said, Czechoslovakia became the satellite of the uh, of the of, of the Soviet Union. We have to take into the consideration as well that the Second World War finished, but still started new war, like the Cold War. And here and here, you can see also that that uh, uh, that uh, uh, that uh, as the Czechoslovakia as the satellite of the Soviet Union has very developed industry, like the Eastern Germany, which also later became the part of the Eastern Bloc. As we know, the Europe uh, it was divided by the curtain iron. The West, the Eastern Germany and Czechoslovakia were like uh, the most the most developed the countries in terms of the industry, and how you can do industry if you get rid of the 2 million people. So here was idea like to call Roma from Eastern Slovakia. Because I was like the several times showing this map, but now I'm going just to use it in, intentionally here, so that I can show you. You have here Eastern Slovakia, and here started after the Second World War because in Slovakia was like the poverty and there wasn't the industry so well. Many people were coming to the Czech lands to do like the jobs, the whatever, and also the building the like the metro and recovering the land after the war. So many people were coming, and some Roma were already settling first in the borderland after the Germans, and also later Roma were settled uh, in in the quarters which left the Jewish people during before the Holocaust. So here you could see that later it was organized by the Communist Party, the dispersion of the. It was called like in the 60s. Later was like called like the policy dispersion of the gypsies, which had like the goal like to take the people from the Roma the settlements to the Czech lands. Every Czech region had partnership with some region in eastern Slovakia, and these Roma settlements were moving. It was really like mass the migration, and these people are now the making majority of the Roma population in the Czech Republic. In the Czech Republic, according to the estimation, we have from 250,000 uh, from 250,000 up to 300,000 the Roma, and these Roma who came from the Eastern Slovakia, uh, they uh, they uh, they represent uh, from 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 the 75 to 20 from the 75 to 80% of the Roma population in the Czech Republic. Uh, you know, uh, uh, the Roma people in Czechoslovakia during the communism it was very fast. Uh, it was very uh, along the period of the 40 years, and Roma did huge like the changes in their lifestyle, in their speaking and everything. You will see it during today. We will speak about this. I have to say also uh, that when the Roma were coming from the eastern Slovakia, they were mostly like coming from the poor settlements in which weren't like in which weren't the access to water, access to the electric, and also we have to take into the consideration that these Roma weren't also were coming without education. They were totally illiterate, and also uh, uh, they like the life of their lifestyle was changing because before departure exodus to the Czech lands, Roma in Slovakia were living in rural environment, and they were having their like uh, relationships with their farmers. They were helping to Slovak farmer, and Slovak farmer was 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 caring of them during during the winter. He was giving them the food, but it wasn't. It was like on everyday base. And now the Roma were coming to the Czech lands and they were receiving the salary like for whole months. And people like didn't know how to how to lead the household, how to make like the monthly budget. Many also people like the later here in this part of the Czechia is a city which is called Most, and there is the ghetto Hanov, and that was idea like to move there Roma and Czech and to show how the relationship between Roma and Czech people can work. And unfortunately, these panel houses were destroyed, and Czech people were moving of this of these houses, of these like the blocks of houses, and Roma were staying alone in one the quarter, and nobody was teaching them like the basic things because it was very huge the change from the settlement, and also as we know that during the Second World War, Roma were losing their home law like the Jewish people. So they spent several years hiding themselves. The Slovak nation, the Slovak uh, like the decrees which were issued against the Roma weren't allowing Roma to live in the villages. Roma could live at least 2 kilometers hidden from the uh, 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 from the road. And on these places where Roma were hiding during the Second World War, they remained there until now. When the Communist Party came, for example, there were some rich Roma, for example, in Velké Kapušany, which who were businessmen. All property was confiscated during the Second World War. But after during the communism, these Roma didn't they didn't receive anything, or and the similar stories there was. The only like the best like the best like the way how to survive was to go to the Czech lands, and in the Czech land was industry, and many Roma were moving like to the like to Prague. Here is the Brno and to Ostrava and in the border. I have to also say that I don't want to speak just only about the Eastern Slovak Roma, but it's also important to say that those the Czech Roma and the Moravian Roma who were coming from the concentration camps. If you remember, we were speaking that the Czechoslovakia, the Czechoslovak first, the President Masaryk, he he signed the law against against the wandering gypsies, which was embracing or which was considering all Roma like the criminals. And imagine that when these Roma were coming from the concentration camps, they still were in the position which they had been before the Second World War. So they couldn't stay in any city. They had to they hadn't the citizenship. Uh, uh, this law was invalidated in 1950 by the communist the government, who realized that the the uh, 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 this law is oppressing Roma people, and the same in Slovakia. In Slovakia, were also still valid the law from the Slovak fascistic state, and this was also very important to change. As uh, I recommend really to read this book. If you were, I was recommending it last year. Like the Fausts Dawn, which is biography of Ilona, uh, but her name was Elena officially, uh, uh, Elena Laskova, and she's very nicely reckoning and sharing her life story of herself about herself, like a woman who was born in 1920s, and you can very nicely uh, uh, see uh, the Roma in the rural environment, before the Second World War, during the Slovak state during the Second World War, and also the situation during the communism. Uh, I will, and also want to say, when the Roma were coming to the Czech lands, it's very important to say that Roma were considered like those who are not civilized, who need to learn like to be people, who need to learn. Yes. Thank you. And and here is here I have to mention the School of Peace, which was by which was by which was by uh, uh, idea of the teacher Miroslav Vladic, and his idea was like to gather the Roma children and to teach them. It's nice idea, however, uh, the the way how he did so was very controversial. He decided like to take the children and like to open it like orphanage, and the children later were taken from the families, uh, like it was decided by the court like to orphanage, and children had opportunity to learn, but they couldn't be in touch with their families. So later, like in the few years, he moved, and Roma parents couldn't meet him, and also the children. And when Roma parents were writing the letters to their children, he he didn't give the letters to the children, but he was answering instead of the children to their parents, and the children they didn't know nothing. His work was successful in terms of that he managed to teach Roma children, and the most of the children whom he taught uh, were successful in educational system, but it was on the cost uh, of the losing their Roma identity, of the breaking the contact with their parents. And I'm mentioning this because this was something he was very supported. He was declared like hero. Even the minister of the education averted him that he's making of them humans. Even I saw in the Museum of Roma Culture in Brno there was like the piece of the newspaper with the heading they became the humans. So this was like also like the darker the face of the communism. Because like this the communism was really interesting in or uh, it was good for the Roma that they could live uh, near the Czech people, because in Slovakia, Roma were mostly living like segregated in the Roma settlements. But in the Czech land, uh, the Roma people, the could live near the Czech people. They had job. Their the social and material life was getting better, and the persecution of the Sate decided to implement assimilation. Even it, it even didn't. Carolina is right. In Poland, the communist government tried to force Roma children to attend the school, but there was a huge language problem. They didn't speak Polish, and they were dropping out from the school. Yes, I will speak in 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 the Czechoslovakia also was like something like this. In Czechoslovakia, the teachers and the social workers were were they were forcing Roma parents like to speak with their children Czech. Roma people were hearing for 40 years that their language isn't the proper language, is a language of the low class people, and if they will speak their language, they will not be the successful. Many Roma children were put into the special schools. So this is also very like the big problem why Roma people are living in the poverty because after in, in the 1988 when the communism like fell down, now you need the education like to get a job. The whereas in the like during the communism, uh, to have to have a work was compulsory. If you weren't working, you could get into the jail. You could be imprisoned, and so uh, like all these spheres of the life by the regime were the secured and so as I was saying, this was like the problem that the children were put into the special schools. And also another thing was uh, from the 1970s, Roma, like, the government, Czechoslovak government, decided to make the sterilizations of the Roma women. So uh, there was like one issue that many of these Roma women were sterilized against their will. As I was saying, Roma children were put to the special school. It was also the language. How Roma could speak, the the state authorities were forcing the parents to speak the language, but their parents also didn't know how to speak Czech because they were coming from the Eastern Slovakia, and Eastern Slovak dialects are totally different than the standard Slovak language. Imagine that the people, the people from Slovak, the capital, the Bratislava, hardly understand like two men coming from the Eastern Slovakia. And now these Roma who had education, who didn't know how to write, how to read, and they also well didn't speak the standard language, and they were coming like to the Czech language. It's not different language. It's the Czech and Slovak language are similar, but still the standard language is uh, is, is hard. Uh, like uh, uh, like the speakers of the Eastern Slovak dialects who spoke the poorly, and as well he was speaker of the mother like the mother tongue pardon, like the mother tongue was the Roma language. And according to this, Roma children were subjected like to the uh, ethnocentric like the test and they were always uh, 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 like they were looking that they are not enough intelligent, and therefore the regime was putting them to the special school and also was securing for them jobs which were in the factories, like cheap labor power. The another problem I already mentioned was the sterilization of the Roma women. Many Roma women, you know, it was looking like in the beginning like they were receiving for this money or some another like the things, for example, like the washing machine or something like this. But there are also the such the cases that it was this sterilization were forced. For example, these women were coming like to give a birth, and the women had like the pains, and and the doctor was the saying you have to sign this paper, otherwise we will not do it. And she was signing something uh, under the pains, and after she uh, and the next day she found out that she will never have children. This is issue which is really running up to nowadays. Also, Roma women are fighting for the recognition and also for the some like the money. That was really long story up to now. In the beginning, State wasn't speaking about this, and after human rights defenders, human rights activists, everyone involved into this. But the most important is that all these like the problem, the segregated education and sterilization, it meant the people from the charter, from the charter, uh, from the charter, uh, the 77. But we will speak. Yes, and let's go further. Here is also important as well as I was saying that he was like the persecution, the Stalinism during 1950s, and in 1960s is coming the Prague Spring, when Stalin died, when the Clement died, the Clement Gottwald, the Czechoslovak, like the first communist president. So it was like the ice were melting. You know, it was really the Prague Spring in 1968. Uh, uh, the people that could more travel abroad. In 1960s were made the best Czech movies. The Czech the culture literature moved on everything, but you know you might hear that yes, and here Roma people also realized and also wanted to have organization, like the first organization in the Czechoslovakia, which was called Svastika Domu, like the Union of the Gypsies Roma, and it was founded in 1968 until 1973. It was very important regarding the emancipation, regarding the education, and also it was at these times it was really a stigma to be Roma because only uh, uh, you know, like the communists even didn't want to use and didn't allow to use the Roma. You can see here that SWAS, that's the Chicano Roma, the Union of the Gypsies Roma. Uh, 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 they were the communists were speaking about the people like about the citizens of the Czech. No, the the Czechoslovak citizens with the gypsy origin, yes, who were uh, who weren't culturally and socially uh, enough good as the other as the other as the other the citizen. And as you know, in 1968, the Soviet Union with other armies invaded uh, the, the Czechoslovakia, and all the Prague Spring stopped. And in the 19th, since that time in Czechoslovakia, it started normalization, which was lasting until 1989, and it was like it were hard time for the people because the people like the professors uh, who weren't who weren't uh, agreeing with the regime were fired, and they were substituted uh, by the people who 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 were the who were communists in all spheres of the life, either cultural, either intellectual, everywhere. And this also influenced the Roma, because Roma people were the uh, also wanted uh, like to strive for their emancipation and to improve their situation, and like to say language. This was again stopped. And I have to mention one also very important milestone in the history of European Roma, and it was April the 1971 when was held the first World Roma Congress in Orpington near London. It was really the milestone because before this, Roma were making the movements in the country. For example, in the 1920s, in the in the Soviet Union, in and also in Bulgaria, in 1930s in Romania, like the before the Second World War, and in 1950s even in France, and in 1971 the finally was organized the first World Roma Congress who participated the Roma delegation from several countries. As I said, how Roma left India after 1,000 word Roma met in Orpington, and this is very important to say because in this meeting, Roma agreed on the umbrella name Roma for all the Roma groups in the Europe, and also they accepted the Roma flag and and uh, uh, and the international Roma anthem, uh, which is called Jelem Jelem. Jelem Jelem is I was wandering on the long roads. I met happy Roma. Oi Roma oi Roma people, where are you coming from? Uh, 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 Raid the tents and with hungry children. Oi Roma oi Roma people or young people. And in the next like the part is I had also drama. I had also a big family. Uh, it, it it was killed at the by like the Black Legion. The Black Legion was like the part of the USA Tasha in the Croatia during the Second World War, who killed in Croatia almost like 90% of the Roma population. And the song is the continuing let's go let's come with me all Roma from all over the world, because are now opened the Roma ways, and now is like the time. Let's let's wake up now, and if we jump up, we will do well. I am going to share with you the link in the chat. I have prepared two versions. One version is very known by Esma Rajapova. Esma Rajapova was she died a few years ago, and she was one of the best the singers of Roma in the Balkans. She was from Macedonia, and one I also can send you another link from the Czech Republic, which was sung by Ida Kelarova and Czech Philharmonic Orchestra. It was also once a special day on the occasion of International Roma Day, which is every year on the 8th of April. 8th of April is International Roma Day. Roma in all over the world are celebrating this event. This this day was the celebrated since 1990. Later, it was later declared as International Roma Day after 20 years. And also have to say, in the rest of the Europe, Roma people aren't suffering only uh, in the countries where was the communism, but also in the Western countries. For example, here is very known the photo. Here is Romani Rose. He's a Sinto from Germany who was fighting for the recognition of Roma Holocaust because it were already like the 1980s, and the people still or like the world or the government still didn't recognize that Roma were also the subjected to Holocaust, like to the genocide because of the racial reasons, and also yes, this is I wanted to I, 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 I wanted to mention. And if I go back to the Czechoslovakia, here we can. I just want to say that in the 1980s, even though that Roma were having like this like the persecution, still up to now, many Roma say that it was better life for them because they had like the secure the social and material life in the 1980s. We can say that it was like the peak of their material life because everyone had job, the where to live. It were allowed like uh, rarely Roma parties like by the regime, and it was at least like something for them. But however, the language it couldn't be taught. Roma books they couldn't be published. Uh, Also, Roma Holocaust it wasn't like the popular topic because, as I was saying, uh, in in the protectorate of Czechia, of the Bohemia and Moravia, were two camps, and one of them was the Lety. If you remember, I was speaking about it last week. And in the Lety, they built on the side of the former camp, like the pig farm, and it was kept in the secret. Yes, it was like this, yeah, and it was also like the long fight. So as I said, like the communist regime, and also like the made like this like the three like the biggest the like the mistake which was like the building the big farm on the side of the Holocaust of the Czech Roma, the segregation of the children into special schools, and also the sterilization of the Roma women. Fortunately, now after some the 25 years of the fight, or how many, the pig farm was uh, sold by the owners, and the government bought it, and now they are going to build adequate the memorial. but all the way how how it was represented, how it was like the downplay that it wasn't concentration camp, that Roma were dying there just because they didn't follow the hygiene. But you remember, as I was the saying that they were concentrated like the many people, etc. And also they didn't have access to the to the water. There were about 100 and 500 people, and there were two or the three the toilets. Uh, so that it was like very big issue, and still some Czech people don't understand it. But of course, I understand into the some point if you don't have information and you don't know. But really, we will speak about this also how Roma are considered by the governments or represented in the media. Yeah, yeah. You could see that like the up like the was like the blue color and the down was the green. Eh, and you can see also like the wheel. Uh, uh, like the green color was symbolizing like the earth, and the blue the sky. And it was originally initially in 1930s in Romania accepted uh, without the wheel. And after in 1971, it was it was added also the wheel, and the wheel is like the uh, uh, remembering like the coming from the India, like the chakra, like the dharma chakra. But sometimes it is very stereotypically explained like that it is the wheel when Roma were the wandering, and the red color because they had uh, because they were the persecuted.